Okay, everybody, so just last night I was looking through some of my really old videos here on this channel. I'm talking about the videos from like 2 years ago, maybe even a bit longer ago now. And if you have been following the channel for some time, you'll know that I've got a playlist which I title My Story of Personal Development and Evolution, or whatever it's called. And in this playlist, I've got loads of videos from across the years, and I find it helpful for myself to watch them back every so often. Now, I was doing this just last night, reflecting on how the last couple of years has been, the highlights and the low moments. And whilst doing this, I realised and acknowledged a very, very significant thing. And it's something which inspired me to make this video because if there's one piece of advice that I could give my younger self, it absolutely relates to this, which I'm going to be speaking about here. So if you're younger than me, or maybe you're even a bit older but you've not realised this, I think this is going to be or hopefully it's going to be a very powerful message. Now, it's quite funny because when I was 18, 19, 20, I was focused on getting results now. I wanted all of the great things now. And I think we all do. Now, to some extent, that is still the case because I think that is just a natural fact of humanity. We want to get the things that we want today or as soon as possible. But here's the thing, there is a degree of glowing up, as they call it, as in becoming more attractive. There is a degree of mental stability or fortitude. There is a degree of financial stability to some extent, which comes anyway with age. I look back 2 years ago, guys, and I was trying to eat as well as I could. I was trying to look after myself, this and that, go to the gym way more even than I do now. But even at that point, I still had like terrible skin and spots and everything. Right now, I've really got none. My face, and you can look back on the videos if you want to see these things. My face became more defined, not necessarily as a direct result of any of these dietary improvements or any of these sorts of things. Of course, it does play a small effect, but it's just a natural evolution of life. My knowledge naturally increased. Now, what this means and what this leads to is a realization that for maybe the next 5 or 10 years, in my opinion, on every front will probably get better. Now, don't take it for granted, and this is what we're about to speak about, but let's just say, for example, you'll probably be more attractive in 2 or 3 years, you'll probably be more intelligent in 2 or 3 years, and you'll hopefully be richer in 2 or 3 years. Now, here's the thing, here is the variable, because whilst those things are true, there are still factors which do help. Now, yes, you could make the argument for the looks, because I do think that people generally they grow into their face and all these sorts of things. That is true. But then there's a question of what you do with that and what you do with your life. And what I mean by this is very, very simple and very, very objective. I'm saying you can be good looking or better looking, you can be older, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be more confident, more wise, more accredited. Now, these are the things that you can begin to work on, because it's quite funny how compounding results work. If you start working on your confidence when you're less attractive, or you start building money now, by the time you've got that confidence and money and drive and understanding and life experience, you'll be in a much, much better position. Now, again, this is the thing. We can talk about glow up, so we can talk about peak age, but in my opinion, that is based on a number of different things. Why might, for example, 30 be the peak age? I'm not saying it is, but let's just say, for example. Well, because, for example, you're still relatively young, so you may have your youthful looks, if you're lucky. So you're young-ish, you may be financially well off, or at least able to afford a house, a car, a flat, whatever it is going to be. So you may have some money for the first time, some substantial money. You will have a lot of confidence, most likely, and a lot of life understanding, which has come from being an adult for a prolonged period of time now. And this is the advantage to a degree which comes at your mid to late 20s into your 30s, I would suggest. At the same time, what this means, if this is truly the case, is that you need to focus on the things which will improve your life in the future now. Because compounding results are serious. You look back now, or at least I do, age 22, and I look back on the things that were certain, the things that I could have tried, but seemed far away. And I don't say this with regret, because I can look forwards and say, okay, well, I won't make that mistake again. But let's say, for example, that stock which you had a very high certainty was going to double, triple, or even 10x in the next 5 years, you knew it in your mind to be true, but you didn't buy shares because you thought you could 10x on this stock in the next 6 months, then buy shares later on and 100x your money overall. If you'd have just been clever in the instance that I've just given, you would be rich right now, or you'd be a lot richer than you are. If you'd have just gone to the gym every week for the last 2 years, you would be in a better physical condition than you were. If you'd have gone to an event or practiced public speaking every week for the last 2-3 years, you'd be better off than what you are. And this is the thing. Just by nature of probabilities, by putting in more efforts, you get more experiences. And by getting more experiences, you get more experience. And this is what genuinely makes your life more meaningful and creates a character which people are going to respect into the future. So my message here to my younger self and to any younger people watching is, you're not going to have everything now anyway. You're not going to have everything now. And if you play your cards correctly, and I'm already seeing the effects of this to some degree, but if you play your cards correctly, in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years, you'll be in a much better position and likely have everything that you want. So these are the things that I'd be looking to. These are the things that I'd suggest, guys. Again, simple message here, but that's what I'd say going forwards.